Hi, welcome to my video on the extra practice on the fundamentals of math. And the fundamentals of math has 4 topics, and one of them is exponents. So let's look over the idea of an exponent just to make sure you understand. Number 1, write 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 in exponential form. Exponential form is 3 is the base, and it's written, and there's 4 of them. So 3 to the 4th power is the exponential form for 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And find the value of each. 6 squared. So 6 squared is the same as 6 times 6, which is 36. That's the value. 5 cubed is 5 to the 3. So that's 5 times 5 times 5. And 5 to 25. 25 times 5 is 125. So that's the value. Express 64 as a power of 2. So 2 to the what power gives you 64? Well, if you take 64 and divide it by 2, you get 32. Divide by 2, you get 16. Divide by 2, you get 8. Divide by 2, you get 4. Divide by 2, you get 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 to the 6th power is 64. 27 as a power of 3. So 3 to the what power? Now you can go along and say 3 to the 1 is 3, 3 squared is 9. Oh, 3 cubed, 9 times 3. So it's 3 cubed. Or you can say 27 is 3 times 9, and 9 is 3 times 3 is another way to do it. State the value of each. So we have to do the powers or the exponents first. In PEMDAS, it's the order of operations. So we have the 2 to the 4th power. So it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 squared is 3 times 3 is 9. And 16 subtract 9 is 7. Again, we have to do the exponents first. And here we got 10 cubed. So that's 10 times 10 times 10. So that's 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 is 1,000. 10 squared is 10 times 10 is 100. And when we subtract, we get 900. So that's the review of the exponent concept that you'll use in your math over and over again. Another topic in the fundamentals of the math is the order of operations. Extremely, extremely important. And the order of operations, you can learn, you can say it's BEDMAS, B-E-D-M-A-S, or you can say PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. It depends on who's teaching it and what your teacher is stressing, PEMDAS or BEDMAS, either or. But what they mean is that you do the brackets or the exponent, the brackets or the parentheses first, then you do the exponents. So you do the inside the brackets first, then you do your exponents, then you do your multiplication and division from left to right, and you do your addition and subtraction from left to right. You have to do the inside the brackets first, then you have to do the exponents, then you do multiplication, division, left to right, addition, subtraction, left to right. And that's the same as here. You do inside the parentheses, you do the exponent, you do multiplication, division, or division, multiplication, makes no difference, left to right, whatever comes first. And you can do addition, subtraction, or subtraction, addition, whatever comes first. So let's obey that and do one step at a time. Here we go. I see brackets. So let's simplify the brackets first. So that 2 plus 1 is 3. So I'm doing one step at a time. And now PEMDAS, I got the brackets. I'm going to do the exponents. So 24 subtract 3 squared. 3 times 3 is 9. And now I have that's addition, subtraction, or subtraction, addition. I'll subtract first and get, that's subtract 9, so that's a 15 plus a 5, and that gives us 20. So that's the order of operations. Again, you do inside the brackets or parentheses, you do the power exponent, and then you do any multiplication, division, left to right, and addition, subtraction, left to right. Now we have another one. We have no brackets, so we do the exponents. So we do the exponents first. So 3 squared is 9. 2 to the 4 is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 is 16. So we have no brackets, exponents are done. Now we have to do the multiplication, division, left to right. So we have to multiply these two first. We have to divide these two next. We go left to right, we leave the addition alone. So we do this, and that gives us 38. Again, reviewing the order of operations that is extremely important in working the math. And in this one, we have PEMDAS or BEDMAS, whatever you want. We have no parentheses, no powers, but we have to do the multiplication, division, left to right. So that's 40. Subtract. 50 divided by 10 is 5, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we got to keep going. So 50 divided by 10 is 5, 5 divided by 5 is 1. So that gives us a 39. And we have another one, a little bit more in this one, so let's see. We have to do parentheses or brackets first. So we leave the 2 cubed. We leave the 6. 8 minus 5 is 3. And 1 plus 19 is 20. So I did the inside the brackets first. Now I have to do the exponents next. So 2 cubed is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. Again, I'm doing one step at a time from left to right. Notice I have a multiplication. That's an addition, subtraction, multiplication. I have to multiply. 6 times 3 is 18 minus 20. Now I add and subtract from left to right. So that's a 26 minus 20, which gives us 6. So that's a review of the order of operations. Extremely important. Another topic I had on the fundamentals is the XY graph. So it says, this is the graph. Number 1, label the axes X and Y. So this is the X-axis, which is horizontal, and this is the Y-axis, which is the vertical. So I have them numbered 2, 4, 6, etc., negatives. Positive on this side, X is negative on this side, Y is positive going up, and negative going down. Now, number 2, state the coordinates of each point. When we do the coordinates of each point, we always go on the X and then go on the Y. Point A is here. So to get to A, you start at the origin. This is the point of the origin here. So we start here and say, we go -1, -2, -3. So X is -3. So we move on the horizontal first and then the vertical. So that's 1, 2. B is here. Again, we start at the origin. We go this way. To get to B, we go to the right. So that's 4 and down 1. So that's X is 4, Y is -1. 4, -1. C is right here. Again, start at the origin and we go on the horizontal first. So that's going left, that's -1. And then we go down to -5. So it's X is -1, Y is -5. And D is right here. Start at the origin. That's X is 2. And Y didn't go up or down, so it's 0. So it's a 2, 0. If all points lie on the y-axis, then the value of the x-coordinate is. If all points lie on so take any point on the y-axis, what is the x-coordinate of any one of these points? Now, this is a 1 and a 2. We could go a half, we could go a third, but I'm just looking at the integers here so far. So any point here, the x-coordinate is 0. Any point on the y-axis, the x is 0. And if you take any point here, whatever x is, the y is 0. On the x-axis, the y is 0. On the y-axis, the x is 0. Number 4, -2, -1 lies in which quadrant? Well, the quadrants are labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the quadrants. 1, 2. Not this way. It goes reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4. So -2, -1. -2 on the x is this way. -1 is right here. So -2, -1 is in quadrant 3. Number 5. In which quadrants is the y-coordinate of the point positive? The y is positive. Y-coordinate, y is positive up here and negative down here. So which coordinates is the y-coordinate of the point positive? So the y is positive here. So in quadrant 1, all the y values are positive. In quadrant 2, all the y values are positive. So it's quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. The y values of those points are positive. Number 6, state the quadrant in which the x-coordinate is positive and the y-coordinate is negative. So the x-coordinate is positive on the right, so that's this side. So we go to the right. Now we want the y-coordinate negative, so we go down. So that's here, so that's quadrant 4. So quadrant 4 has the x-coordinates positive and the y-coordinates negative. So that's a review of the xy plane. And one of the other properties that's used all very often, quite often in geometry and trig and calculus is the Pythagorean property. And the Pythagorean property is dealing, it has to be a right triangle. And we have a right triangle, a right angle right here. So it says label the legs as A and B and the hypotenuse as C. So the legs are A and B and the hypotenuse is C. The hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. That's the longest side in a right triangle. Because we have a right angle, and these two angles here are smaller, and the larger angle is the 90s. That's the hypotenuse, opposite the right angle. The legs are what makes up the perpendicular, makes up the right angle. Which side is the longest? And that's C, the hypotenuse. State the Pythagorean property using A, B, and C. So the H, Y, P, the hypotenuse squared, is equal to the leg squared plus the second leg squared. So that means the hypotenuse of C, so C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So the hypotenuse squared, which is C, is equal to A squared plus B squared. Now it could be B squared plus A squared, but it makes no difference. So that's the Pythagorean property that when you see a right triangle, you can find the lengths using the Pythagorean property. So let's do some examples. We have a right triangle. So we have, as soon as I see a right triangle, I think about the Pythagorean property. So C squared is A squared plus B squared. So the hypotenuse, which is the longest side, that's the x. So C is the x, A is 8, and B is 6. So x squared is 64. 6 squared is 36. So x squared is 100. So x is equal to the square root of 100. So x is equal to 10. Now, there's more to this in math, but since they're dealing with triangles, and the sides are always positive on length, the square root of 100 is 10. But when we do more math, we will find that there's two answers here. But because we're dealing with triangles, we're dealing with the positive one. Not to worry about that right now. Find the value of x in this one. So we have two right triangles. So x is in this one, but I don't have this side right here. So if I want to find x, I need two, in the right triangle, I need two sides, but I only have one. So let's call this side y. Now, in this right triangle right here, I have two sides. That means I can use the Pythagorean to find a y. Then in this triangle, when I find a y, put that back in, and I will find the x. So let's deal with this one first. So c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Hypotenuse in this triangle here, opposite the right angle, is 13. And we have 12. And we have a y. So that's in this triangle. That's the hypotenuse. So 13 squared is 12 squared plus y squared. So 13 squared is 169. 12 squared is 144. So now we want the y squared. So 169 minus 144. So that means that y squared is 25. So notice that 144 plus 25 is 169. So that means y. What number do you square to give you 25? So the square root of 25 is 5. So 5 squared gives you 25. Now we have what y is. So let's look at this triangle now. And we have, let's draw that triangle like this just to show it to you. There's the right angle. We have 4. The y is now 5. So let's take this triangle. So the c squared, again in this triangle, c squared is a squared plus b squared. C is the hypotenuse, so that's 5 squared is 4 squared plus x squared. 5 squared is 25, 5 times 5. 4 squared is 16, 4 times 4. So that means what number? So 16 plus what number is 25? So 25 subtract 16 will give you that number. So that's a 9. And x is the square root of 9. So x is equal to 3. Again, you had to do the Pythagorean twice, but you had to start with this triangle since you know two sides. Find a y, and then use the y to find the x. Again, that's a review of the fundamentals of math. That's just some topics that I picked to start off the pre-algebra review, the topic that I'm dealing with in the pre-algebra. And I found my sheet. Again, if you like my video, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained, just one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.